Hi guys. So Joe said he got stuck somewhere. He's traveling right now, but I can't message him. So if I'm gonna answer some of the questions for you guys right now, and then if there's anything else missing, I can message him directly, or we can do a makeup call later. I'm really sorry about this. And Joe said he's really sorry about this. Okay. So let's. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna answer some of the questions for him first, and then if there's anything else, he can record another video to answer this later. So first question, how can I reduce glutamate? Is there any way to increase activation of glutamic acid decarboxylase? I have looked at GABA supplements which help, but I think excess glutamate is my main problem. Thanks. So for this question, so excess glutamate is a lot of problems for a lot of people. I think Joe has one of the posts that says that the enzyme glutamic acid decarboxylase has some overlapping similarity with gluten. So if you are suspecting this is a problem, there are probably blood tests that you can do, like Xerox Labs, that test for autoimmunity specifically against this enzyme and a bunch of other enzymes or proteins in the body that you can tell whether you're having an autoimmune attack to it. Right? You say reduce glutamate. If you want to reduce glutamate, you want to decrease activation of glutamic acid decarboxylase, and one of the most important things is that you want to stop eating gluten if you're not doing that already. The other things is that to reduce the brain inflammation in general, like reducing lectins, and there are things that help activate the mitochondria in the brain, which can overall reduce the glutamate in the brain. And lastly is to make sure that you don't eat a lot of glutamate in the food, right? So things like bone broth and fermented foods will have a lot of glutamate. Next question. Hi Joe, I'm trying to do a big liver detox period. Share the screen. Just one moment. As I believe it may have something to do with my brain issues, I mentioned here before, bracket severe brain fog, spaciness feeling, also other symptoms like fatigue, etc. Do you have any special tips that I might not have already come across for improving liver function? Also, what do you think of this supplement? So I'm just going to look at this supplement really quickly. So, first of all, I'm wondering, Nick, what were the reasons that you think liver detox have something to do with your brain fog? Because usually, most people who have brain fog issues will have something with the brain, mainly the limbic system, right? And then, like the other things that happen, like for some people, a lot of people with brain fog will also have SIBO or some kind of detoxification issues or digestive problems. And this is usually connected to the limbic system. Okay. So, things that improve liver function, of course. So, milk thistle, artichoke are definitely herbs that can help with improving liver function. There are other things that help maybe directly or indirectly with detoxifications, like infrared sauna or can maybe like, I don't think there's any studies for this, but use something like the ISIS over the liver can maybe stimulate or help the liver cells regenerate a little bit better. Yeah, so special tips that you have not already come across. So definitely just those. Some practitioners would suggest things like dry brushing or castor oil pads, which again, there might not be a lot of studies for this. Next questions. Oh wait, I'm gonna go back to the liver function. So I think we have a pause on detoxification, like the science behind it, and CYP enzymes. So let's look at this cell pad detoxification. Right, there's this pause that you can look at. And cell pad CYP enzymes. And also look at glucuronidation as well. So it would be these posts. Yeah, so Brent said TUDCA, TUDCA. It's one of their, definitely one of their things you can look at. So CYP enzymes, glucuronidation. Let me address this one. Right, next question. If you were to take 2 to 3 supplements for autophagy, which would they be? Let me see. What's on the list? For autophagy, I would say like not eating is one of the most important thing, right? So like fasting overnight or fasting for 16 hours a day, if you can handle that. Getting sun exposure in infrared sauna is the big one. So they're not necessarily supplements. Not sure if resveratrol is part of this. Let's see. No. Let's look at this list. So aerobic exercise, intermittent fasting, ketogenic diet, coffee, green tea. Yeah, nicotinamide is one of the things that Joe definitely takes. I don't think he's taking sulforaphane. I don't think he's taking anything else on a regular basis. So I would say those would be the top ones if you want to look for a couple of them. All right, so next question. I have many of the lectin genes and have, I think this is CNR1. I eat a ton of chilled pistachios and roasted almond butter. I am gluten-free and dairy-free. I have chronic muscle pain, especially in my neck and shoulders, and I want to lose 10 pounds. I have water retention. Have you found that having the lectin genes could cause chronic pain from nuts and weight gain? There's a couple of different reasons here. So first of all, simply because you have the lectin genes doesn't mean you're sensitive to lectins, right? It increases the risk, but it doesn't mean that you will definitely be sensitive to lectins. And all these other issues that Laura mentioned, so chronic muscle pain in the neck and shoulders, and maybe a little more body fat. You don't think 10 pounds a lot. And water retention, they have some separate issues there, right? So first of all, the pistachios and roasted almond butter have a lot of calories on their own. So like naturally, there is foods, if you were to eat as whole food, you would be cracking the nuts like one by one, and you won't be eating a ton of them, right? So there's a chance that she might be sensitive to it, or she might not be, but if you want to lose weight, like 10 pounds, then maybe regulating this would be one of the low-hanging fruit to look at. Gluten-free and dairy-free. So also the chronic muscle pain in the neck and shoulders. So there are a few different reasons. Like, I don't know, like, because I'm not sitting next to Laura, so I don't know what she looks like in terms of like the posture. Neck and shoulders could also be like connected to the jaw, and some dental issues as well if she has some of that, right? And some of the reasons could be inflammation. The water retention might be related to how much salt she's having, or if she's not having enough potassium. And also, let's see, something with estrogen and progesterone balance, right? So these are related issues, and I wouldn't necessarily link them to like this per se. I think like these need quite a bit more investigation. They may be connected, but they might not be connected, right? So could the lectin genes be a cause of chronic pain from nuts and weight gain? Possibly, but I don't know if the pain is from nuts either. Like, one of the best ways to know if the pain is from nuts is to stop eating the nuts for, give it like a month and see what happens, right? So you know if it causes the pain and the weight gain. So Brent said, I checked out that list and I don't want to take off those, so I was trying to think of the best. So yeah, I think, Brent, the best way to stimulate autophagy would be fasting. Second one that could be like ketogenic diet and heat, right? So I don't think it would be supplements necessarily. The next one, my immunity seems very poor. What are the best lab tests to see what is going on? And Mark said he's read the TH dominance list. Thanks. I would assume if he says his immunity seems very poor, that usually means that he doesn't have the Th1 immune system, right? If he's really curious, if Mark is really curious about what's going on with the immune system, I would say get the test for the cytokines. I wouldn't say those are the most informative thing to do either. The other thing to do is to see if certain supplements or herbs make him feel significantly better. But to say, for example, if the symptoms are easy to tell, like if you have some allergies and you catch everything that comes your way, like every time someone else around you gets sick, you catch it, that usually means that you are Th2 dominant and you don't have Th1. But you could also be normal Th2 and have no Th1, right? So you might not be allergic to anything, but you have a deficiency in Th1 immune system. And I would say in that case, then start taking some Th1 supplements. Next question, are there any genes or SNPs that represent how well one can gain lean muscle outside of actin, I think ACT and it's actin 3, which is for skeletal muscle fibers? Yeah, I would think there's quite a few. I don't know any on top of my head right now. But, and Joe might not like it when I say this, there's a report, Malik, there's a report by Precision Nutrition, this is a Precision Nutrition genetic testing. So there is this report that you should look at, and there are specific genes, they describe specific genes that talk about their specific genes and how they influence your muscle gain and responses to certain nutrients. And this is a report that you should look at if you want to talk about, if you want to look at what are the genes that can influence your muscle gain. And most of the times, because these are fitness people, so most of the times when they talk about muscles, they talk about skeletal muscles. They're not talking about smooth muscles or hard muscles. Next question. Joe, I love pregnenolone. I just started it a week ago. Is this something I can take every day, or do I need to take breaks from it? What I might see from long-term use, I've already noticed better memory and slight improvement with fatigue issues. Any thoughts or comments on your experience might be helpful. Submitted by Terry. So I don't know if Terry is a man or a woman, but there could be a difference there in terms of, like, for men, the pregnenolone could get converted into estrogen or female hormones, right? So, but the solution, if you really see results from it, is not exactly to take breaks from it, is to take another thing that prevents it from getting converted into testosterone. So there would be things like DIM, right? So something like this. And then I think Joe takes another thing himself that increases estrogen, increases testosterone as well. So you might want to just monitor it, maybe take your blood work regularly for your sex hormones to see if it's in the normal range or in the optimal range. And if things start to shift, either through the blood work, like you're starting to get higher estrogen related to your testosterone, or like just some form of imbalance in that sense, right? You use the blood work, you can look at metabolites to see if there's any imbalance there or any bad hormone metabolites that you want to be aware of. And the other thing you can look at for men is that if you start getting boobs or man boobs or having more hip, then that's when you want to back off or like add things that add to increase testosterone. Next question. Hi Joe, my father has peripheral neuropathy, a history of alcoholism, depression, and more recently diabetes, which he seems to have in control now. Do you have any suggestion for his peripheral neuropathy? I'm not sure if the peripheral neuropathy comes from the diabetes or just like not having the blood sugar in control in general. I also don't know a lot of information about your dad, right? So I would say one of the things that could help is really maybe a ketogenic diet. The other thing that can help would be the ISIS device. So we have bigger discount right now, and you can send out an email about this. So you can try the ISIS device to see if it helps with their regeneration of the neurons. The other thing is getting their blood sugar in control and taking some antioxidants. All right, okay, I'm gonna look at Roxanne's question. So I have been seeing physician Dr. Kendall Stewart in Austin, Texas for 4.5 years now. He specializes in all these things we were talking about. He sees people all over the world. He created supplements to help patients without these genetic defects. So thank you, Roxanne. So check it out, neurobiologics.com. Yeah. So okay, the next question by Nick is, okay, do you know of Anthony William, aka the medical medium? Do you think he's cracked? And what's your thoughts on his idea of a lot of chronic diseases that we still haven't figured out, such as CFS are unrelated to undetected viral diseases, especially related to EBVs? I'm just gonna look this person up. Let's see. I don't know. I want to see like the way he structures his arguments, and I'm being really open-minded here. Thyroid healing, life-changing foods, medical medium. The root cause of, interesting. Oh my God, Gwyneth Paltrow, no. I tend to associate Gwyneth Paltrow with quackery, but I don't know. Like it looks like he's good, really good marketer, but I can't see his mind, so I can't tell. There might be some truth to it that, you know, I'm reading about the cell danger response by Robert Navarro at UCSD, UC San Diego, and he says that a lot of these chronic inflammatory diseases are caused by the cell, like our cells' responses to viral infections. And what the viruses do is that they steal high energy electrons, right? So when the mitochondria generates NADH, so when it's trying to create energy, it generates high energy electrons inside of NADH, right? So when something sucks up this NADH, like for example, viral infections to the cell, the viruses will steal the NADH. It will cause the cell to be in a state of danger, or like it senses that something is going on with the cell and it's trying to warn other cells that there is danger. And that could be linked to diseases like chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, autism, and many other things that is listed in the medical medium book, right? So these things. Could it be that every disease is linked to viral infections? Not really. The other thing is that if you study genetics, like 99% of the human genome are called transposons, right? Or like it's called lines in transposons, which are like hidden like viral genomes in our genomes, and then these genes can become kind of latent, and they can be activated at some point. But for the most part, these viral genes in our genome are harmless, and it's just lay there dormant and not doing anything. So I don't know if they're making the argument from that part. There might be some truth to it. The other possibility is that our chronic illnesses, especially in like Western countries like in the US, could come from the fact that our cells is dealing with something that steals electrons inside of the cell, like the cytoplasm, like things like glyphosate and BPA, and these chemicals can really do the same thing as viruses. And that might actually be why like people in the US or in Europe are more likely to get chronic inflammatory response syndrome in response to a multi-building than the people who are actually from the, like third world countries. Like these people don't get the IRS in response to more buildings. So something to think about. Next question. I am tracking my sleep with the Oura Ring. I have come to find that my deep sleep is only 2 to 6% every night. I've tried just about everything to hack my sleep so I can get better deep sleep, but do very low deep sleep and I am tired all the time. Any unique suggestions on how to get more deep sleep? Earning maths or something else? Interesting, Roxanne, and thank you for staying on the call with me tonight. So in terms of, first of all, like the Oura Ring is not their gold standard for measuring deep sleep. There might be some truth to it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly what's the mechanism that it measures. I'm not sure what's the mechanism that it measures deep sleep, right? Because as far as I know, the state of technology that measures the pulse through the lights, like if it shines the lights through your finger or something like that, their resolution is not enough to like tell. For example, it's not enough to tell the HRV, but I'm not sure if it's enough to tell whether your heart rate has slowed down enough for deep sleep, but that would be, I guess, one of the main ways that it measures your deep sleep. There are other tools that maybe like measures how fast the breathing is, for example. So I would guess you already have biohacking insomnia, right? I would say one of the things is that get a sleep study and make sure that you get a sleep study at a sleep lab that uses the nasal cannula. What it does is that it can tell if you have this thing called upper airway resistance syndrome. So you can actually, I have actually been making some slides for this. I can actually pull out these slides. I'm not sure if I want to do that right now. Let me pull up some slides for you really quickly. So what upper airway resistance syndrome is like when some people they don't have sleep apnea. So I guess if you already know that you don't have sleep apnea for one of the reasons. But something in your area, like maybe a narrow palate or maybe some kind of turbinate in your nose or something like that could hinder the breathing at night. So there's some resistance to your breathing, but it's not like you stop breathing altogether or that your area is completely obstructed, because that would be sleep apnea. And the only way to detect that is to use a sleep study that actually like measures the airflow. And you will still have the airflow, but the airflow will be irregular. That would be diagnostic of upper airway resistance syndrome. And that's a common cause of things like TMJ or poor sleep quality, right? So that would be something to look at. So see your doctor. So see your family doctor and ask for a sleep study at a good clinic. So Stanford is one of their good clinics that have these tools, and they have the professor that discovered the upper airway resistance syndrome, I think. And he's Dr. Galimi Notes. I can't pronounce his last name, but definitely look this up and see if you can see one of the doctors at Stanford for a sleep study and diagnosis. I think should be like low potassium or low magnesium. So it's something you want to play with. You can try to increase carbohydrates at night. That usually increases their serotonin and melatonin, which can help with deep sleep. There's some supplement stacks that might help. So I myself have a lot of issues with deep sleep. I would definitely think about, the best thing that I've used, because I have TMJ. So I get my TMJ treated, get the massages with the muscles around my neck and my jaw, one thing. And then I get a sauna in the afternoon so that my body gets really hot. And then my body temperature drops towards nighttime. So that's another way of increasing deep sleep, and that will make me sleep really well. The other thing that would add to that is CBD. It definitely helps with sleep quality without making you groggy. And the last thing is neurofeedback. So neurofeedback is kind of like you're looking at a game or something, and it trains you to go towards one brainwave that is variable, and you need to be doing this with a partner so that they can look at what would be the irregularities in your brainwave and what would be the best brainwave and the best size on your head that you should train. So these are my suggestions for improving your deep sleep. Other thing, Max, is you can definitely try them. I've used the Joe's magnetical pad. I didn't experience anything. So maybe they will change something for you, right? You can definitely try the PMF device. I've been told some people who use the PMF device gets better sleep. So their ISIS also has their, and I know you were on that call as well. It has the Schumann resonance in the delta brainwave, which might help improve deep sleep. I personally have not observed that to be the case. So, but beyond that, like eat enough carbohydrates at night, eat enough calories during your day, and reduce your stress, and definitely exercise are the basic things to increase deep sleep. As for the fatigue, I'm not sure. It's a lot of other factors that I need to look at. Next question. Hi, Joe. What do you think about Dr. Dale Bredenson's protocol for Alzheimer's? So let's see. Bredenson protocol for Alzheimer's disease. It's loading right now. So let me look at other questions. What's the protocol? I wonder. Training. I don't know how this works exactly. Metabolic profiling distinguishes 3 types of Alzheimer's disease. Right. For instance, let me look at C. Alzheimer's PubMed. They actually published this on PubMed. Huh. So he has actually published this on PubMed, and I would guess there might be some science to it. So he's at UCLA. Parts results of cognitive. Yeah. Let me see. Full text available. Introduction, results, case studies. So, what's the main protocol? Right. The therapeutic program. Metabolic enhancement of neurodegeneration. First in patients include, so it's, I wonder what exactly entails the introduction, preclinical studies, results. She began system 1.0 table 1. Right. I'm not sure if you're seeing this. So table 1 says optimize diet, minimal simple carbohydrates, minimize inflammation, enhance autophagy in ketogenesis, which means fasting 12 hours each night, including 3 hours prior to bedtime. That is that the patients are given choice of several low glycemic, low inflammatory, low grain diets. Okay, reduce stress, optimize sleep, exercise, brain stimulation, homocysteine. So he prescribes maybe B12 and THF, P5P, and TMG if necessary. CRP, so anti-inflammatory diet, lots of curcumin, DHA, EPA, optimized hygiene, fasting insulin should reduce. Okay. So I think, yeah, it's on the right track. I don't think it's something new. Like he just puts together a bunch of different things. It's almost like what CellPack does, which is amazing. That we look at different things and see how it helps with animal models or how it helps with specific biochemical aspects of this disease, right? Including like increasing their nutrient efficiencies and then reducing inflammation. Going into ketosis is important. So there are like bacopa, acetylcholine, and other supplements that helps with the brain. Making sure that there's enough vitamin D3 and K2. Exclude or treat sleep apnea. Increasing mitochondrial function with CoQ10 or ubiquinol, alpha lipoic acid, PQQ. All right, this makes sense if I had Alzheimer's, and the great thing that the doctor actually did was that he kind of trademarked it, which means that it makes it look a lot more, I guess, a lot cooler than it actually is, right? And it could become mainstream. So I'm happy that something like this get into a publication, and I think it's a good idea for the general public. Yeah, so sure, give it a try. I don't see anything that I am disagreeing with right now for Alzheimer's, but also it's not a high-risk program. Like none of these is going to kill you. None of these is going to make Alzheimer's worse. And a lot of times it has really good results. So yeah, this is good. can sort out why someone would experience depression from coffee, but not caffeine itself. Okay, coffee is a lot more than caffeine, right? It has different substances like antioxidants and tannins. So it's possible that you're reacting to something else in the coffee, right? Coffee is also a common allergen or an antigen, so it can stimulate the immune system. So that might be why you would have mood swings and depression from coffee, but not caffeine itself. I myself as well, I would get like a little rash or like little bumps on my skin from coffee, but not from caffeine itself. So I usually just take something that contains caffeine, but not coffee. Next, what cannabinoid is best for treating anxiety and depression, THC or CBD? Knowing that we were all different and we react differently to both of these cannabinoids. For example, CBD is best for depression. How would you dose it? The best way to know is to try them, right? A lot of people with anxiety don't do well with THC, right? It's possible. I also like want to know your other issues. So say, do you have the tendency to be a thin person, or do you gain weight easily? Because that tells about how well your PPAR gamma is working. And THC can be one of the things that help with weight gain. You might want to try it like from really small dose. So 1 milligrams THC and it's time to go up and see what happens. I definitely, a lot of people react to THC more so than CBD. It generally is harmless, right? There are a few different ways of taking CBD. Like you can vape it, just like get a vape pen from one of the vape stores and then get the CBD vape liquids that are hemp oil, right? So how would you dose it? So CBD doesn't tend to have any issues. It might make you a little more calm, a little more sleepy. Yeah, so I would say if you get the vape, like try for like, a couple, like 1 or 2 puffs a day to, just like vaping it for an entire hour. The other thing, so for if you take like the ginger or the CBD oil, like from Elixir, I would start from like half a dropper, or no, a quarter of a dropper, so it'd be like half a mil, and then step it up to 2 mil. Joe says when he's taking, he's eating foods that his body doesn't like, and he's trying to fix this issue, he takes up to like 6 droppers, which I would guess is like 12 mil, and that's really expensive. But it just says the point that like it's a really harmless supplement. But cannabinoids is not the only things that you can use for treating anxiety and depression. Like I would look into other causes as well, like diet and like limbic system inflammation or past trauma. Like there's a lot of different things that you can look at for treating anxiety and depression. Neurofeedback is also a big one. So, okay, Roxanne said, I bought an ISIS portable device. You mentioned you use it on your belly for inflammation and on head for brain fog. Could you please explain further what setting and how long and exact placement? All right, Roxanne. So, Joe, I can show you. I can share the screen. Let's see. Oops. So Joe puts he has 2 coil, and he puts the coil on each side of their belly button on his tummy, right? And for the ISIS, I think he uses the A9 model. Like he has an A9, it has an M1 now as well. So it's the highest setting for the A9, right? I think it's probably like 9 to 12 for M1. I'm not sure, but I would play around starting from setting number 9, either at A9 or B5, C5, and go up to see if you see any difference. And he uses anywhere from an hour to overnight. And for the brain fog, it's either the coil on either side of the head, like on the temple, or on the back, and just wrap it with their sticky band-aids. And then you can also try stacking the coil. So put the notch together and then put it on top of your head as well. Another question by Nick. Does that answer your question, Roxanne? I'm looking at there. How long at what setting? So if you have an M1, for the ISIS, you can use B5, C5, and start at 9. And then if you don't see anything, then you turn it up to like gradually to turn it up 1 notch at a time until you get to like 14 or 15. Yeah, so shorter brand is also, I would say start from 9 and gradually go up. But if you are really sensitive and you're worried that you might react to it badly, then you might want to start from like less power than 9, so from like 5 or 6, and gradually step it up. So go from like an hour. If you don't feel anything yet, then that's wear it for like 3 to 5 hours or overnight. One more question about depersonalization, Joe. Do you know anything about stellate ganglion block as a treatment? Some people seem to have success with it. It seems like depersonalization of feelings of being constantly spaced out could be to do with the nervous system being kind of stuck in some kind of response. And that this treatment helps with switchback. There's an interesting discussion there about it here if you want to take a look. Okay. Stellate ganglion block. That sounds like something that you would have to do with your doctor. Depersonalization after smoking weed. Okay, so if you get anxiety after smoking weed, you just don't smoke weed. So it's more, this is PTSD. Scrolling. So trauma leads to an increase in the growth factor in the stellate ganglion, which in turn leads to sprouting of somatic nerves, which leads to increased adrenaline, norepinephrine, which makes people anxious. Stellate ganglion blocks leads to a reduction in NGF and sprouting of sympathetic nerves, which help reverse trauma and anxiety symptoms. Where is the stellate ganglion? See, collection of nerves found at 6 and 7. I'm pretty sure this is also a treatment for chronic pain. Right. 6 to 7 vertebrae. The last vertebra of the neck. The nails are located in front of the vertebra. Huh. I don't know. It sounds like something that could have a lot more side effects if it's not done right. Yeah, I would. This is available for PTSD, specifically for veterans. I don't know. I would say, you know what? First, before you try it. So not something he has tried yet. Last question. Apart from brain issues and fatigue, I have a bit of come and go symptoms of muscle aching. Do you think this would be tied into with my thinking my issues are either liver related or nervous system related? Well, I don't know what triggers your muscle aching, right? It could be food. Yeah, it could be nervous system related. It could be used. So, I can't think on top of my head if it's related to liver or nervous system related, but there are many different things that could trigger the muscle aching. So, right, I think that's all the questions for now. Does anyone else have any questions before we wrap up? So, no? All right. Is there a book, a manual that explains the genotypes in self-decode? I believe Brendan has a video that explains the genotypes in self-decode. Let's see, YouTube tutorial. But what exactly would you like to know about the genotypes? This is Joe's videos. Okay, so the terminology. I think, okay. Tutorial. Great. This is a good one. I would say look at these videos by Brad, and then there's the other video. This, I think this is 45 minutes. This one that a lot of people find very useful as well. They ask about how Joe uses this for his clients. So definitely go through these videos first. Yeah, you're thinking about making the gene report. So I guess you're the first to know here that you're gonna have reports specifically that explain to you what these genes are. What do you say again? I don't think you're muted. If you have anything to say, you can say that. Yes. Oh, you're muted. Okay. All right. So I hope that answers your question. Yeah, and next time I will be sure to remind you more times than I did today, I think. Yeah. All right. You have a good night.